I can almost guarantee you're going to become a better finisher by watching this video. So in this breakdown, we're studying Manu Ginobili's ability to attack and finish at the rim, and he's one of the most creative players of all time. So when you really put it under the microscope, you can learn a lot. And some of the stuff he did and actually came up with, or at least popularized, is absolutely insane. And mind you, there was significantly less space back then on the way to and at the rim, which made a lot of this so much more impressive. So let's jump straight into studying one of the ballsiest, most unorthodox players of all time, down to the finest details. So maybe the most memorable component of Manu's game around the rim was how creatively he used these long strides. You'll see him really lengthen his stride length with these last couple steps almost every time, and this does a few things. One, if you notice his shin angles here, they're often out in front of his body. It's super deceleration heavy angles, which slows him down a bit without fully stopping to gain control and never be moving too fast even when he's attacking the rim like a madman. Secondly, and more obviously, it helps him cover a ton of ground with each stride, which is how he so often snuck past defenders, or at least got to their hip or on their side like this, which once you're there, everything becomes that much easier. So he's using these big lunges to create position when they're not expecting it. And lastly, it allows him to absorb contact better, because on these last strides, his foot is on the ground longer and his center of mass is lower, both of which happen naturally with a longer stride. And this is a pretty good recipe for staying on balance through contact. Also, watch how much control he has to jump in different directions with that last step. This is not something you see very often at all, but he actually did it a bunch. Even if it's just a small change of direction, being able to re-angle your jump at the last second off of one is an elite tool that takes incredible coordination and control, but allows you to jump out from defenders who can rarely adjust their jump in time. Now, of course, these strides lead us into the Eurostep, which Manu is widely known for popularizing, but I'd actually say that most of the Euros that he used over the years were more these inverted Euros, where he's striding outside a defender, not across them. And I actually tend to like these more sometimes because you end up with another step after you get outside their frame, versus a Euro where sometimes you waste the first step and then only have one more to create space. If you pair this with long strides, it's tough to stop. Other times he's taking exaggerated steps across his body like this to find his way through these small gaps and slivers of space. Now, while we're on innovation, I'd actually argue he really started to introduce pace and the slow step too on a lower scale. Most of these aren't super exaggerated like they are now, but the pace changes are tough, and you can tell that he's manipulating the speed of the final stride and the jump, because damn near every time the defender is up in the air well before him, which means they're also on the way down when he goes on the way up. And not saying this guy invented everything, but also low-key, these creative pickups kind of emerged naturally from his game and definitely became more popular after him, which is bound to happen for him, for someone who tries to sneak through so many small spaces and take creative strides to do so. He had to protect it somehow, which ended up in creative pickups like this, and you can see this inspiration seep into the next generation with guys like Harden.
As a team shoots 41%.
And more broadly, he had an uncanny feel for protecting the ball and keeping it away from defenders, whether he's turning away as he slices to the basket, cuffs it to his chest like a running back, swings the ball to his hip away from the defender, and he's aggressive with it too. Nobody wants to get their hand in this too much.
Let's see if this gets him going tonight.
This also becomes a lot easier when you develop a crazy ability to manipulate and control the ball, which you can see on display here. It's nuts. Now, moving on a bit, watch his in-air mobility. How he's contorting his body at crazy angles, rotating, leaning back, even getting hit here. But the most impressive part, he's remaining controlled here, landing all of these gracefully, which builds the confidence to actually go up in the air and just figure it out. Now, I also want to take a deep dive into his unpredictability. So often he completely blew by his defender and got here, where it's just a one-on-one, him and the big. But unless you're able to switch it up consistently, it's getting punched most times. So first off, he'll creatively manipulate their momentum. In other words, use a quick jab in one direction, a ball fake, something to get their weight moving in the opposite direction, so by the time he gets up to the jump, they're too late. And he's quick off the floor with it too. Sometimes he'll switch up the angles and go slightly away from the basket, even on the jump itself. Other times he's jumping into them. He'd go off 2 feet at times to switch up the timing and direction easier, even though this wasn't his go-to. And of course, using these creative last stride pass fakes. As a defender here, since you know there's going to be something different every time, you tend to get paralysis by analysis. And the other dangerous part here, he was incredible at shooting these distance layups, which are kind of like floaters, but shot more like a layup, and of course some actual floaters. And what this does is open up options for him to not get all the way to the rim, maybe starts a bit further out, he jumps earlier, and he still gets a high percentage shot off, which is just another layer to his unpredictability. Now, what makes most of this possible is that he was incredible at getting fully by defenders. Not just on their hip, but literally all the way in front. There aren't many moves that allow you to get fully in front and set up a finish like a pump fake, where the defender literally has to wait for their feet to hit the ground before they can actually move. And they're out of the picture by then. It's so simple, but the field goal percentage on pump fakes is probably crazy. He also constantly looked to split ball screens, because if you can do this, you're legit leaving two defenders fully in the dust and have a 3v2 or even a 4v2 sometimes to work with. And the big keys to splitting ball screens, working in small spaces, and aggression. Two of his specialties, so it makes sense. And the last signature here is this in stride behind the back that allows him to continue his momentum, and as a result, he often gets fully in front of defenders with it, as they can't recover from a change of direction in time to stop his momentum that doesn't stop at all. If he couldn't get by defenders, he'd tend to look for these wide curves across the court that would attract more defenders as he probes for space, cause miscommunications, and also allow it to become more of a foot race with his defender as he curves into the lane for a finish. And honestly, more than anything technical here, it's just his mindset. His aggression, risk tolerance, and willingness to adapt were truly on another level. He never limited himself on the court. Whatever solution he could find, he'd use it, no matter if it's unorthodox, and even if it doesn't work the first time. Look what happens when you play this way. Future generations adopt these, sharpen them, build on them, and this is how basketball evolves. So we need guys like Manu who push the game forward with their creativity and willingness to adapt. As always, hopefully you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Let me know what you want to see next, a player, a certain skill. You guys know I'll make a video on damn near anything at this point. So let me know, and I'll see you next time.